This is an idea that has an awful lot of you talking on our Facebook page. Should upstate New York break away from downstate and become more like Pennsylvania? We investigated a plan to do that by a group called Divide New York Caucus. Now, what would it mean for you and your tax dollars? Chris Horvitz takes a closer look in our New York State Exposed follow-up.
Yeah, Janet, here's the question. What would it be like if our policies in New York were more like Pennsylvania's? That's exactly what the Divide New York Caucus would like to see. So I went to the Keystone State to find out, could it work here?
Connie Homan is opening a new antique store in downtown Waverly, New York. It's in Tioga County.
There's a lot happening on this street.
Homan is excited about it, but if the building were about 200 yards to the south, it might not be as expensive of a project.
Had that been in Sayre, I'd probably be in Sayre.
Sayre is Sayre, Pennsylvania, right across the border from Waverly. The borough property tax rate in Sayre, $1,037 per $100,000 of assessed value. In Waverly, the village property tax rate is $2,793 per $100,000. Things like that make Rich Bitter unhappy.
We're controlled by the city, and it's very tiring for us.
Bitter is part of the Divide New York Caucus. The caucus wants upstate New York to split away from downstate and form an autonomous region.
When you look, you're looking at all that. See that right there? That's a drill pad.
This is part of what Doug McClinko attributes to the lower tax rate in Pennsylvania. McClinko is a commissioner in Bradford County, Pennsylvania. That's where hydrofracking has become a booming business. Hydrofracking is banned in New York.
It's prosperity and growth. We've eliminated all of our county debt. We have none. We've lowered our taxes to every one of our citizens, all of them. You have a governor who's ridiculous. And I understand why these people want to pull away. I get it.
The governor says we cannot turn a blind eye to this region anymore.
Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul says Governor Cuomo is laser focused on upstate New York, not downstate.
You're from upstate. What has really changed since Governor Cuomo took office in upstate New York?
I can look at projects walking down the streets of Buffalo, where I was born and raised, and see Canal Side attracting thousands of people to what was once an abandoned brownfield site. What's going on at Solar City, that took vision. There's 28,000 more people in Western New York than there was before.
Maybe the case in Buffalo, but when we broaden it out and look at the whole state, I don't know if that's the case. I mean, people do still seem to be migrating out of upstate as a whole.
The governor focused on Buffalo intensely first to see if it could be done.
I then asked her directly about the southern tier.
Fracking is one thing there that they're very upset about. Across the border in Pennsylvania, they're kind of thriving. That's something they point to as well.
I'm not hearing that so much anymore. I think that's last year's news. I think they're adjusting, they're adapting.
Homan says she doesn't need to adapt, at least when it comes to taxes.
New York's taxes have been high my whole life, so I've kind of come to terms with that's how it is.
Now, just like us in the Finger Lakes region, the Southern Tier won $500 million in Governor Cuomo's Upstate Revitalization Initiative. Lieutenant Governor Hochul says that's what people in the Southern Tier are focused on. But Rich Bitter, who you've heard from there, called that award nonsense. If you want to learn more about his group, the Divide New York Caucus, you can go to its website, newamsterdamny.org, Janet.
A lot of people have been talking about this upstate, downstate thing for some time. The idea of splitting New York up, it does seem a little crazy. So, I mean, how would that even happen?
Well, the Divide New York Caucus members say the first step comes in November of 2017. That's when you can vote for the state to hold a constitutional convention. They say that convention is needed to amend the state's constitution to make this happen.
All right, Chris Horvitz with our report tonight. Thank you.